Man never imagined the woman who looked just like the girl he'd secretly had a crush on could light up a cigarette with such practiced ease. She was nothing like a regular supermarket clerk, and he couldn't help growing deeply curious about who she really was. Her overly familiar manner left the middle-aged man completely flustered. His name is Sasaki, a burnt-out salaryman stuck in a never-ending cycle of overtime work. The constant pressure of his job has worn him down to the bone, leaving him tense and exhausted every single day. His only real escape is stopping by this supermarket after work, and he always, without fail, lines up at register number 2. The reason he stubbornly sticks to register 2 is Miss Yamada, the cashier there. She has a soft, trained, sweet smile that feels like it can heal all his daily exhaustion. One look at that smile, and all his built-up stress, frustration, and fatigue just melt away. Because he visits so often just to see her smile, he ends up spending far more money than necessary buying things he doesn't even need. This day was just as terrible as every other. A never-ending staff meeting dragged on deep into the night, going in circles without reaching a single decision, just forcing everyone to work unpaid overtime. Drained and irritable, Sasaki dragged himself to the supermarket, hoping Miss Yamada's smile would calm his frazzled nerves. Unfortunately, misfortune struck again. Miss Yamada wasn't working that shift. Crushed and anxious, Sasaki desperately wanted a cigarette to calm down, but the whole area was covered with no smoking signs, and passersby shot him judgmental stares. He couldn't find a peaceful spot to smoke, making his mood even worse. He finally found the back door smoking area and lit his cigarette. As he smoked, he watched the unfamiliar woman sitting next to him. Dressed stylishly and casually, she looked nothing like a typical supermarket staff member. To break the awkward silence, Sasaki struck up a conversation, asking which department she worked in. She lit her own cigarette with effortless familiarity, then immediately called out Sasaki's big secret. She knew he waited every single day at register 2. Even when other registers were wide open and empty, Sasaki turned bright red, utterly embarrassed that his quiet crush had been exposed. The woman quickly eased the tension, saying there was nothing wrong with liking Miss Yamada. She was beautiful and attractive, so it was only natural. Sasaki rushed to explain that he wasn't just attracted to her looks. To outsiders, he might look like a plain, even slightly creepy middle-aged guy, but he harbored no inappropriate thoughts toward Miss Yamada at all. He quickly apologized for his outburst. The woman hadn't meant to pry. She was only worried about Miss Yamada, who was constantly bothered by pushy, inappropriate customers. The next day, Sasaki returned to the supermarket, still replaying the strange woman from the night before in his mind. He failed to notice she'd already called him by his real name. He stood at register 2, staring blankly at Miss Yamada until she gently pulled him back to reality, making him fumble awkwardly to pay. Then Miss Yamada called him by his full name, shocking Sasaki. She explained she'd seen it on his rewards card and thanked him sincerely. Flustered and red-faced, Sasaki secretly vowed to find the woman who he didn't see the warm, mischievous smile Miss Yamada wore as he walked away. From then on, Miss Yamada knew about Sasaki's quiet crush, yet she kept her usual gentle, perfect smile and continued to help him check out with kindness. Sasaki always felt awkward and embarrassed, yet deeply grateful for how sweet and kind she was. One evening, Miss Yamada was absent again. Feeling down, Sasaki wandered toward the back exit and found Tayama once more. She invited him to share a smoke, and he agreed, still wanting to settle their earlier conversation. Unable to argue with her easygoing personality, Sasaki bought ice cream and potato chips as a thank you for letting him use the smoking area the other night. Tayama was surprised by the snack. She said this flavor of chips was popular among older people, and she'd always wanted to try them. She'd just finished a late shift and was starving, so she happily accepted. As they chatted, Sasaki realized he'd left his cigarettes at the office, then said goodbye and headed home. When Sasaki came back the next day and bought the same chips, Miss Yamada mentioned how delicious they were, saying someone had given her some recently. The comment made Sasaki think of Tayama, yet his slow mind still didn't connect the two women as the same person. One day, Sasaki visited the supermarket, but Miss Yamada's usual comforting smile couldn't lift his gloomy mood. Her smile always used to wash away his tiredness, yet not today. Miss Yamada noticed his unusual low energy and wondered what had upset him. Sasaki craved a cigarette to relax and automatically thought of Tayama, but she wasn't there, and he didn't feel right lingering in the staff-only smoking area alone. Soon, Tayama hurried over, her hair messy and undone, clearly rushing to see him. She asked what was troubling him. At first, Sasaki hesitated to open up until she told him Miss Yamada had noticed his sadness and was worried about him. Sasaki felt touched, grateful for Miss Yamada's thoughtfulness, as well as Tayama's concern. Sasaki still had no clue that Tayama and the sweet cashier Miss Yamada were the exact same person. That ignorance allowed Yamada to drop her perfect cashier mask and be herself around him as Tayama. Sasaki finally opened up about his problem. Earlier that day, he'd accidentally upset a new young graduate employee. The kid made a tiny mistake and Sasaki tried to comfort them, only for the new hire to misinterpret his words as harsh criticism and burst into tears. Sasaki got scolded by his boss as a result. Tayama reassured him, saying the company was a terrible workplace that forced constant overtime, and the new kid would probably quit eventually. With time, the young employee would understand Sasaki was a good person if they stayed long enough. Her advice lightened Sasaki's mood. He praised Miss Yamada, saying how amazing she was to stay cheerful and kind even while working late-night shifts, always smiling patiently to difficult regulars like him. He wished he could smile gently and calmly like her too. Tayama then revealed the truth. The perfect supermarket smile was a rehearsed, standardized expression. The following day, the new young employee came to apologize sincerely. They explained they'd been overly emotional and misunderstood Sasaki's good intentions and felt awful for the trouble they'd caused. Sasaki forgave them, telling them mistakes were normal for new staff and offered to help them with work issues anytime. Once this weight was lifted, Sasaki returned to the supermarket, and Miss Yamada's smile worked its magic again, calming his mind and easing his daily exhaustion. As time passed, Sasaki saw a different side of Tayama when she was stressed and worn out. One meeting, she visibly held back frustration, tension showing on her face, yet greeted Sasaki normally and asked him to sit and talk. And when he reached for a lighter, he noticed a huge pile of cigarette butts in the trash, a clear sign she'd been under massive stress lately. Sasaki didn't push her to talk immediately. He walked to the vending machine to buy a warm drink. Tayama asked if he wanted to smoke, but Sasaki said warm drinks were better than cigarettes for stress relief, especially when the weather had turned cold. Tayama finally shared what had happened. She'd received a formal customer complaint. The customer said they'd always loved her perfect service, but were extremely disappointed to smell cigarette smoke on her. The manager had defended her. Sasaki comforted her. His gentle words touched Tayama deeply. Sasaki also admitted how little he knew about her, not even knowing which department she worked in. As the seasons changed and the weather turned cold, Sasaki started sneezing from being cold, so Tayama wrapped her jacket around him. It didn't fit well, but it made Sasaki feel warm. He thanked her and turned to the vending machine again. Tayama hesitated, then lightly tugged the jacket sleeve and whispered a quiet thank you. Yet the oblivious Sasaki missed this soft gesture entirely. She also mentioned casually that she didn't actually like coffee. When spring arrived, Sasaki got chewed out by a difficult client and felt miserable. He stopped by the supermarket to grab lunch, and even though he knew Tayama worked nights, he walked toward the back smoking area anyway, where he found Yamada fixing her appearance. Sasaki panicked and asked why she was there during the day. Yamada laughed and explained she was covering a coworker's day shift. She quickly hid her cigarettes in her pocket and said she was just buying a drink from the vending machine. She asked why Sasaki was there so early. He accidentally mentioned coming to find Tayama, then worried about breaking staff rules and begged her not to blame Tayama for letting him use the back area. Yamada said it was fine. Tayama had told her everything. Sasaki thanked her again, knowing Tayama had told him Yamada was worried about him. It meant so much to him, a lonely salaryman to be cared for. When they spoke about overstepping, both felt the tender, careful way they worried about each other. Yamada confessed she often felt trapped by her formal cashier persona and loved talking freely with Sasaki like Tayama did. She told him he was welcome to use the back smoking area anytime. Sasaki politely declined, worried his visits would get her in trouble again, then left. Later, Tayama taught Sasaki how to get rid of cigarette smells, brush his teeth thoroughly after smoking to remove most tobacco odor, then lightly spray fabric deodorant. She handed him a half-used bottle of her own spray, warning him not to overspray so his strict boss wouldn't smell smoke on him. Sasaki hesitated to take it, thinking it was expensive, but Tayama insisted she had extra at home. Sasaki practiced using the spray, even testing it on a coworker once, accidentally using way too much and making the scent overwhelming, creating an awkward, funny moment. Thanks to Tayama's trick, Sasaki eliminated the smoke smell successfully and avoided trouble with his boss. Relieved, he headed to the mall to buy a proper thank you gift for Tayama. When he arrived at the back smoking area, he found the supermarket manager instead. The manager was immediately suspicious, thinking Sasaki was trespassing on private property and threatening to call the police. Sasaki explained he was a friend of Tayama's, dropping off a gift. The manager didn't know anyone named Tayama, but recognized him as the regular man who always waited at register 2. After Sasaki described Tayama's stylish jacket and bold personality, the manager finally realized the truth. Tayama was just a fake name used by Yamada. Sasaki had been fooled all along. He asked the manager to pass the gift along and left quickly. The manager confronted Yamada about letting a customer into the staff-only area. She also mentioned Sasaki's gift and joked about how obvious the fake name Tayama was, only fooling the slow-witted Sasaki. But when she saw how lovingly Yamada treasured the gift, the manager softened up, deciding to look the other way, as long as they kept things quiet and didn't disrupt the store. She even became their biggest shipper, asking Yamada to share future sweet moments. The next day, Yamada confirmed with the manager that Sasaki could keep using the back smoking area. The manager agreed, teasing her not to mess with him too much and to spill all the cute details later. Sasaki returned nervously to the back area, anxious about getting Tayama in trouble. Tayama showed up and told him the manager had approved his visits. Sasaki pulled out a tiny custom portable ashtray as a return gift. Tayama instantly understood how thoughtful it was, knowing how awkward it would be for a middle-aged man to shop for such a cute accessory in a boutique. She cherished the gift, asking Sasaki to use the new ashtray and playfully pulling it away to make him lean closer. Sasaki kept a formal distance, stretching his arm out straight, straining his muscles until his arm ached badly. The next day, he bought pain relief patches, which made Yamada laugh, then quickly apologized for teasing him, feeling bad about making the older man uncomfortable. That wraps up the main story from the first 6 episodes of this sweet slice of life series. Stay tuned for our next video where we break down what happens next.